Hey everyone!
Hola a todos!
This is Jahaira.
And this is Stephanie, and welcome to Cuento Crimen podcast.
Y aquí on the Cuento Crimen podcast, we are a true crime podcast and we bring a new case every Wednesday.
Cada miércoles.
And these are cases that don't get much media attention, so chances are you haven't heard of some of these cases.
And we cover these cases in Spanglish.
Así que agarra a tu abuelita, tu abuelito, tu mamá, tu papá, a quien tú gustes, and come join us every Wednesday for a new true crime case. Lorenzo González tenía 8 años y él vivía en Dorada, Puerto Rico. So this is also a international case. So maybe that also could have been a reason why we didn't hear much or we didn't find much on Lorenzo's case. And he had a big interest since he was very young in sports. And he was even part of the soccer team.
Lorenzo nació el 29 de noviembre del año 2001. Y él era, the middle child. So he had an older sister and a younger sister. And he was like the middle child.
And the only boy. Y sus papás eran Ali González y Ana Cacho. Pero ellos estaban en proceso de divorcio, entonces Lorenzo vivía con su mamá Ana y sus 2 hermanas. But he did have a good, ¿cómo se dice? Una buena relación con su papá. Like it seemed like they were okay with co-parenting.
Mm-hmm. On March 9th, 2010, Ana, la mamá de Lorenzo, llegó al Treatment y Diagnostic Center, which was a clinic. Ana arrives there between the time 5 and 5:30 a.m. con Lorenzo, and he was covered in blood.
And unfortunately, as soon as they got there, Lorenzo was pronounced dead. And so now the question que todos tenían era, ¿qué le pasó a este niño tan pequeño y por qué venía cubierto de sangre?
Naturally, Ana begins to get questioned y ella les dice que Lorenzo se había caído de su cama y que por eso estaba sangrando.
But there's a catch to this. I mean, if it was just that, then this case probably wouldn't be what we are presenting today. And the catch was que cuando la autopsia de Lorenzo regresó, descubrieron heridas que no concuerdan con lo que decía Ana.
The autopsy revealed that he had severe injuries to the face, head, and this included 3 stabbing wounds to his face.
And I think al escuchar esto, todos estamos de acuerdo que aquí algo más pasó y Lorenzo no murió por caerse de la cama. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Si Lorenzo se cayó de la cama, why does he have 3 stab wounds to his face?
To his face. It's not like a little cut on the arm.
Right?
Like you fell off the bed y te cortaste en
like
furniture
you landed
piece
on
or something,
algo.
This is to the face and it's, multiple stabbing wounds, Yeah, it's not adding up. And they ask Ana again, ¿qué fue lo que pasó? But she is denying that anything happened. Like she's keeping to her story que Lorenzo se cayó.
And the thing is that when this happened, it was also a full house. Like Ana y sus 2 hijas estaban en casa cuando Lorenzo murió y también hay rumores de que otras personas estaban presentes ese mismo día. So it kind of makes me think like whatever happened to this boy happened in front of multiple people, like if rumors are true, pues. Mm-hmm. And it's just like someone's not speaking up. Someone is not saying what really happened.
Mm-hmm. And this begins the list of suspects, which by the way, Ana is a suspect. They're not like clearing her
dismissing
off, dismissing her. So she's still part of that list. And I think the reasons were obvious, like siento que she was sticking to a story that didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Y like como una mamá, how are you sticking to that story if there's stab wounds to your child's face? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, shouldn't you say, like, oh, no sé lo que pasó? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you should be more worried, I guess.
I mean, aquí todos nos gusta el true crime, ¿verdad? Entonces, it kind of makes sense. But I think it's kind of clear that Ana was maybe covering up something or she was protecting someone. But eventually, on March 9th, 2015, which, by the way, was the 5th year anniversary de la muerte de Lorenzo, Ana was actually cleared off by police. Like, she was no longer a person of interest. Y muchas personas se quedaron muy confundidas por esto. Like, why was she cleared? Like, what happened? Like, they wanted to know. And I think they were also growing suspicions because some people did note that Ana's father actually met up with the governor at that time, que se llamaba Luis Fortuño. And they say how, like, they had this meeting y que el papá de Ana was seen handing him a mysterious envelope.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, now, like, when we were researching this case, it made me, like, wonder, like, how is Ana's father in connection to the governor? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, And
then, like, the way that they, in the articles that we were researching, like, that information was just super casual. Like, oh, sí, like, tenía junta con el gobernador. But, like, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just thrown in there, like, normal. And then, like, this whole mysterious envelope, like, why couldn't they come up with a truth and say, like, oh, yeah, there is this envelope, but it was for another reason.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't addressed.
It just was not a good look.
Yeah. Y al poco tiempo, Antonio Zagardía, the Secretary of Justice at the time, resigned to his post and became Ana's lawyer and expressed that she was the victim of the media.
And that kind of makes me think que como maybe, I don't know, Ana maybe came from a well-known family. Maybe, you know, a family with money. Porque si para tener esas conexiones,
yeah,
it's a lot. Y también, like, to make this person that has such an important role all of a sudden stop and become your lawyer, también it says a lot.
Again, the question, where are these connections coming from?
Pero
para ser sinceras, no había nada de información sobre esto. So we did try to look for their status, but we came up back empty-handed.
Yeah, like, no había mucha historia de la familia de Ana. Esta información sí se presentó en varios artículos. Like, we wanted to share it with you guys as well.
And so just how Ana was off the hook or cleared, and if they had the reasons, like actual evidence and stuff, like she was cleared, right? Other suspects were too. So along with Ana, también su novio, Jesús Genaro Camacho, también fue una persona de interés. Y la razón fue porque había rumores de que él estaba en la casa ese día que Lorenzo murió.
Pero Jesús ha negado estar en la casa cuando pasó el accidente. He denies being present y dice que él no sabe nada de lo que pasó. And so eventually they kind of took his word and he was let off the hook as well.
Along with Jesús, también un amigo de Ana, Arnaldo Colón, fue una persona de interés por la misma razón. Many believe that he was also there that night that Lorenzo passed away, but there was no evidence towards this and he was also cleared off.
And it's honestly really frustrating to hear because, like, what happens if they really were there, but there's just no evidence of that, right? Like, how do you really know that someone has a trustworthy alibi? That's always been my question with every single thing. And it's like, why are people saying that they were there if they're not? Or, like, who was even saying that they were there? Like, these are all things I wish we knew.
Yes, right? Porque si hay alguien que está diciendo eso, it's like, is there a reason why you're saying that? Then were they there? Were they there like half the time? Like, did they stop by or something like that?
Yeah.
You know, I think honestly, like, alibis are tough. Like, it has to be honestly a little bit more like digital.
Right, yeah.
Right? And even that is tricky too, because you can have someone, your phone can be left at home.
Just
and
on purpose, yeah.
It's tough.
It's a lot of sneakiness around everything.
Before we get into the next suspect, Luis Gustavo Rivera Cejo, known as El Manco, he was known as a homeless man who grew up in the same neighborhood and was incorrectly released from jail the night of the murder.
Y también dicen que él confesó haber matado a Lorenzo, pero después lo negó, so he basically took back his confession. Y él había dicho que the reason why he even confessed to killing Lorenzo was because él quería estar en la cárcel, que porque él prefería estar allí al ser homeless.
And for a while, people believed he was the one responsible for Lorenzo's murder. But eventually, you know, they realized that they didn't have enough evidence. And the fact that he was diagnosed with a mental disorder, all of that combined was the reason why Luis fue declarado inocente.
Y después de declarar a todos inocente, mucha de la gente empezó a criticar cómo el caso de Lorenzo fue investigado.
For starters, the house, which was the crime scene, was cleared and cleaned up before investigators were even able to come by and take a look.
So that means that a lot of things could have been cleared up or a lot of evidence was tampered with and it just becomes kind of
And
a
like,
mess.
as many of y'all know listening, the crime scene is so important.
Yeah.
You know, so like
everything about it.
Everything about it. And it was cleaned up. And like, that is just the worst thing you could do when it comes to a crime scene.
Like, you get there and what is there to even see?
Yeah. It's like now, yeah, like all tampered with, DNA mixed, and like it being cleaned up. It just makes it really hard for investigators.
Or like fingerprints también. Like, they're so easily erased. So,
and then also with the original story, right? Ana's story that que se, you know, cayó de la cama. Now it's just like I don't know, people aren't really saying the truth, and then now you don't have evidence as well, so it's like really even hard to start.
Or like, I even think about it, right? Que él llegó allí a la clínica like cubierto en sangre, so he was obviously bleeding a lot. With 3 stab wounds, pues como no, right? But now I wonder, like, all that blood was gone. So was there even blood by the bed that he fell? Or like, where was the bed that he fell from?
Yeah.
What kind of floor was it? I don't know. Like, all these questions. And it just honestly really sucks that there was literally no information for us to really truly investigate or like just know about this case.
Yeah. So all in all, many people, you know, believed that Lorenzo's case was not investigated properly. And it was for many reasons.
Yeah. Y la muerte de Lorenzo tuvo mucha atención con la gente de la comunidad porque todos pensaban lo mismo. Like, ¿qué le pasó a Lorenzo? And how is it that no one was ever named responsible for his death, having it been a full house?
El papá de Lorenzo quiere justicia por su hijo. And he says que he just wants to know what really happened that night. Pero no one is speaking up.
I mean, he doesn't blame himself, but he does feel that, I mean, he, you know, feels bad for not knowing or not being able to have protected his son. But I hope that, you know, he understands que no era su culpa lo que le pasó. And yeah, honestly, it's just really sad to say that it's now been over 10 years and still no one knows what happened to Lorenzo.
And it's so frustrating just knowing que esa noche había muchas personas en la casa. And it's really hard to really know who was there, who wasn't, like what times and stuff. But it's just frustrating porque tanta gente y nadie dice nada.
And that's one thing, though. Like, obviously, ¿verdad? Si la persona responsable no se quiere hacer responsable, I can kind of see that. Like, who would want to, you know...
Yeah, someone who's running away, right?
Exactly. But as the mom, like, Ana de veras no va a saber qué le pasó a su hijo esa noche.
His sisters
too, yeah.
And also these other people who were there, like, wouldn't you just tell them what you know or, like, be honest and, like, yeah, I was there from this time to this time. And then I noticed that someone else came, or, you know, like, just, I don't know. I guess some people just don't want to talk.
And it just, I don't know, it just sucks. Like, because at the end of the day, like, Lorenzo still needs his justice.
So that's all that we have for this case. We know that it's a short case, and we know that, you know, this case doesn't have an ending. Lorenzo doesn't have justice yet. So we do ask you all to please share this case, just to bring this case back into conversation and
not let it like die out.
And also, like, you know, maybe like so many years have passed, like maybe someone might want to speak up now, right?
La conciencia.
So we can only ask y'all to share this case, and we are so thankful for y'all tuning in this week, and we'll see y'all next week.